We got some big news here connected to the Epstein stuff, and it looks like the government may be dumping their final load here, or they're acting like it at least. And some are saying this is bombshell, the names coming out listed. Others are saying that this is a sleight of hand trick, because what they've done is they released these files, and apparently there are some redactions. There's caveats to those redactions that we'll talk about in a second. But what they've done is put all these names out there and say that these names in a large list were connected to the Epstein files, but it doesn't mean that those people are incriminated. They could have been mentioned because of a news article. Nonetheless, a whole list has been dumped with some crazy names on it that are going to raise some eyebrows. The problem with this is that the names don't connect to a crime, which people are saying that's criminal. Nancy Mace is coming out and saying, oh, no, you don't. The government's not going to get away with this. They're saying they dumped everything, but they didn't. They're still holding files back, acting like this is the last bit, and they're citing different reasons for doing so. Now, the materials released were tied to 9 categories, and they have definitions behind all those categories, including Epstein. Like Epstein, they say all investigations, prosecutions, and custodial matters have been released. Then Ghislaine Maxwell is like blank behind it. Then it goes on the flight logs, travel records. It says all aircraft manifest, itineraries, custom records, vessels, vehicles. Then individuals named in connection with Epstein and his criminal activity, civil settlements, entities including corporations, nonprofits, governments, any immunity deals, the internal DOJ communications regarding decisions to charge or decline prosecution, communications regarding the destruction, deletion, or concealment of evidence, and then the documentation of Epstein's detention and death. Those were the categories tied into this. The list of names, again, raises eyebrows. They say that the department cautioned that the names appear across a wide variety of contexts, including emails, press mentions, third-party reporting, and peripheral document. So it's not tied into an email. If they are criminally tied into an email that we read, it shows that someone's been abused or a body's been buried, they're going to redact their name at the top still, is what everyone's taking from this. And it's ridiculous. Some are going to say, oh, it's bombshell. We've got a list, an official list, and people's names are on it. But it's sleight of hand. Yeah, they're giving you a list, but they just said right here, it could be because of several different reasons. It doesn't mean it's criminal, is what they're saying. So when it comes to the actual email that shows the crime, names are still redacted. Okay? And that's what people are going off about. And you can see here, the names that make the list, they don't hold back. Miriam Adelson, Julian Assange. And see, people are going to see some names on here and they're going to be, there's no way. Those people had to be mentioned. They couldn't have been there. And then others are going to be dead giveaways that they were a part of the club and that they were there. I mean, you got Beyonce, Jeff Bezos. We talked about the whole Jay-Z thing here recently being tied into this whole thing. Dan Bongino, Bono. If you just want to see some of the names listed here, Jeb Bush, George Bush Jr., George Bush Sr., or George W. Bush, should I say, Big Bush. Tucker Carlson, his name pops up in this. Dick Cheney, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Kurt Cobain. Interesting with everything that just came out about his death. Bill Cosby. Interesting that they done had him in jail, then released, and all this other stuff, and kind of pulled his card like Harvey Weinstein, which we know was connected into these exact same circles. Okay? You can see as I'm scrolling here, Bill Gates, Melinda mentioned in it, Rudy Giuliani, some of the bigger names that like stand out, Reid Hoffman right there, from recent headlines. You can see Mick Jagger, There's Jay-Z, Alex Jones mentioned in there. And again, people are going to take this whatever way they want. If they see a name they like, they're going to be like, oh, no way, and they're going to say whatever. Really, this list is kind of like, again, it's sleight of hand. Jared Kushner mentioned there. The way that they do this, Monica Lewinsky, Howard Lutnick, you've got, it just goes on and on and on here. All the way down to the Obamas, and yeah, Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump, Melania Trump, J.D. Vance, all the names, Les Wexner, which they just unmasked in a courtroom basically here recently, or Massey did in a hearing. He was like, look, you guys redacted his face and his name. He was a criminal, and he wasn't, the paperwork wasn't about money laundering or anything like that. It was about this trafficking. And it was all proof that they were covering up and redacting these people. So I'm telling you, it's bombshell in different ways. And the fact that they're trying to say and play off that this is it, this is the rest of all the files. Here's a whole list of names, which is interesting, but it's different than what you're going to find in these files and emails. Although they say if any members of Congress want to go in, they can view the unredacted files. So they're still playing the public, and that's what Nancy Mace is going off about, many others. So, is it bombshell? Is it not? Well, you have admissions here that satanic things were going down on the island. And this is coming from Congressman Tim Burchett in different interviews. He's coming out and saying it will shock you, it will haunt you when you hear the real details. So these congressmen are allowed to go in, read and see this stuff, and they come out and then talk about it and say all this stuff, but they won't show the public. Like, there's where the issues lie big time with this. But this is some of the more recent stuff here to come out of this. Join me for the live show going live Monday, Wednesday.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who push in the 100% truth, peace, and salutations unto the elect, alright, of the nation of Israel. Alright, and this video will be entitled Esaw Edom. Alright, the man of sin is being revealed. Alright, and you see a lot of stuff is going on here on these Epstein files. Okay, a lot of stuff is coming out. Okay, what these devils been doing, satanic stuff, abuse, eating human flesh, okay, Nero name being mentioned in the Epstein files a lot of times, and these devils, are being revealed. Alright, the Lord is revealing them. Alright, and we've been telling you, about, this man, this devil, the beast man. Okay, they being revealed. Alright, so let's go in the scriptures here. It's like here. Let's see, this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Now, who's that man? Alright, that man is Esaw Edom, the so-called white man who rules the earth, starting with these banking elites. Alright, Amalek. Alright, those Amalekites. Alright, okay, they are the man of the son of perdition. Alright, the son of destruction. Okay, and the Lord is revealing them. It says verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. He want to replace the Heavenly Father. He wants to become a God. Okay, thus he wants to achieve it by putting this RFID microchip, in you. Alright? And the verse goes on to say that. It says, or that is worshipped, so that he as power sitteth in the temple of power, showing himself that he is power. Alright? Okay, the temple is the body, alright, of you Jakes and whatnot, and you want to sit in there to become a god. Verse 5, it says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Alright? Okay, and who letting is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Until, and the Lord gonna put a stop to these devils. Okay, gonna take them out of the way. They're gonna come out of rulership soon. The Lord just letting them do they do right now. It says verse 8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Alright, Esaw Edom, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Alright, the Lord's mouth is the prophets, his prophets. We are revealing him. Okay, and we consuming him, we revealing him. All the wickedness is coming out about this devil. Alright, who have, Jake in oppression, the Israelites, have them in sin. Okay, who have the whole world upside down. Alright, this devil. Okay, who covereth the faces of the judges, and all that. And he's being revealed. Alright, by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. It says, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Okay, Yahweh Shai is coming back to take these devils out of power. Alright, soon. So this devil is being revealed. Okay. Let's go to this precept here. This is Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 15. It says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? But the Lord sees you. Alright, he knows you, and he revealing you. Okay, you can't hide from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Alright, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? The Lord made these devils. Okay, so there's nothing you can hide from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So he sees you, he knows you. Revealing, he's seeing all this stuff coming out. Okay? And we ain't surprised because we've been telling you that. Alright? Eating human flesh and thing. Them is the real beast man. The beast man. Alright? Okay, and the Rabbi Finkelstein, was talking about that. Well, they put your sons and your daughters, that's where you just eat for lunch and for breakfast and whatnot. They do that. Alright, them's the real cannibals too. So they're being revealed. Okay. Through us, the prophets, and through their own mouth. Alright. Let's see if Psalms suck here. Psalms chapter 64 and verse 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter, they commune of laying snares. Privily they say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities, they accomplished a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But power shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. Alright, they're gonna be revealed. Alright, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, all that see them shall flee away. You see not now, all that see them, realizing the wickedness this these devils do, and fleeing away, and they're revealing their own mouth. You see the same Bundy, whatever, this right here. Okay, they was asked now what not about Trump, and all she could say is oh, how we good, how we ting, this and that, and they're just being revealed, okay. All the wickedness that they're doing, is coming to light, okay. This is Ephesians chapter 5 Slakia, and verse 12. It says, "For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret." Alright? You've seen what's going on, and those are FB files, alright? Okay, stuff eating human flesh, and abusing, raping, doing satanic practices, and by the way, fair use. But these devils, you're seeing them for what they really is, and we're not surprised at that. All right. Okay, but all things that are reproved of made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doth make manifest is light. All right. Okay, the Lord is shining that light on them. They can't hide. There's Luke here. There's Luke chapter 8 and verse 12, verse 17. It says, I'll read from verse 16. It says, "No man, when he hath lighted a candle, covereth it with a vessel, or putteth it under a bed, but setteth it on a candlestick, that they which enter in may see the light. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be that shall not be known and come abroad." Alright, the light is being shown on this devil, Esaw, Edom, the so-called white man, they being made manifest, and these devils, they need to come out of rule, come out of power. Just now Yahushua is coming back to take them out of power. So these devils are being revealed, and we're not surprised at this. Okay, we've been telling you that this is the devil. Alright. Okay, so I hope this lesson has been edifying. Alright, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, Wa Abad Babal and Shalom.